That land can be taken without compensation from legal owners is extremely dangerous, and as such could even lead to civil war. Freedom Front Plus leader Dr. Pieter Groenewald uttered these words during the parliamentary debate on the acceleration of land reform. According to Dr. Groenewald, the rhetoric of land grabbing without compensation is clear that there is an election in South Africa and that the theme of that election will be land. He says it appears that there is currently a competition between the African National Congress and the economic freedom fighters on who can make the most promises over land to prospective voters. Now, to discuss this issue further, in our parliamentary studios, we are joined by EFF Plus leader Dr. Pieter Groenewald. A very good morning to you, Doctor, and welcome.
Good morning.
Talk to me about civil war in relation to land. How did you come to that conclusion?
Well, firstly, you must remember that land is a very emotional issue. And the land issue is not an issue that only started this year. It is coming a long way. In fact, in 2013 already, members of the ANC in Parliament stood up and said that the whites have stolen the land. And since then, even the president says that the land was stolen by the white people in South Africa. So, I mean, over years now, the whites are accused of stealing the land, which is just not true. They worked for the land, they paid for the land, and therefore I say it is a very emotional issue. And now you get people, let's take for instance the EFF leader, who said that I'm not asking you to kill the white people, not now. Now, what is he actually saying? That is instigating violence, specifically against white people. And that is actually nothing else than hate speech. Now, for over the years, white people have to listen to this allegations made against them. And I spoke to a lot of landowners, especially farmers, and they are quite clear that it is not a matter of just come and take my land or come and grab the land. And that's why I said, in a very serious note, that if anybody thinks that they will be able to just come and grab the land in South Africa, take the land without compensation, they're actually living in a dream world. And I said then that if you want to start a civil war, then they must just do that. And I'm quite serious when I say that, because I also see it as a responsibility from my side to say to people, stop this irresponsible remarks from the white people have stolen the land, we will take the land must be given, it must be expropriation without compensation. And that's why I said those words in the debate in Parliament.
Are you then suggesting that farmers and white people have mobilized themselves and to prepare themselves for civil war?
No, I don't say that they have prepared themselves for civil war, but they are organized for self-protection. If you look at the spate of farm attacks in South Africa, the communities are organized to protect themselves. And you mustn't see it as an action from the landowner side that will go over to a civil war. It's a matter of they will protect their property. And I mean, if there are people who just want to take the land and just grab the land, then they will protect themselves. And if they're going to do that on a big scale or nationally start with such a land grab, then you will get a situation where they will defend themselves, and that defense can create a situation where we can say that we will be having a civil war in South Africa.
But is that not a fruitless exercise, perhaps, Dr. Groenewald? 5 million white people and, of course, the majority black people in this country. And is that perhaps the correct rhetoric in relation to civil war?
If I heard you correctly, if you say it's not necessary to say this, I agree that it is not necessary to make the rhetoric used by other political parties' leaders, even the President of South Africa, and in numerous previous debates in Parliament, I've asked them to stop this In fact, I even laid a charge with the Human Rights Commission against President Zuma when he said that. But the problem is they don't want to investigate it. And if you leave these people to just continue with this rhetoric, then you can create such a situation. And that's why I said that they must stop the rhetoric if they want to do it for political gain. This is not a good subject, because it is an emotional subject, to have a political campaign based on land. And that's what I said, that it seems that there is a competition between the ANC and the EFF in the coming election that can say who can make the best promises to the people. And let me also say, people must not be misled. Just to have a piece of land doesn't make you rich. In fact, if you have land, you will have to work that land. And we have seen in the whole land reform in South Africa, that especially when it came to the restitution claims, that the claimants didn't want the land. In fact, the Minister of Land Reform, Minister Quinty himself, said that about 93% of the claimants preferred the money and not the land. So I say that it is a political issue that is misused, and I'm asking those leaders to be responsible and to stop using this rhetoric of the white people have stolen the land and we will take the land, and to give it back to the people, and to say that I'm not asking you to kill the whites, not yet. Those are phrases and words that is very dangerous, and we don't need that in South Africa.
But in principle, as the Freedom Front Plus, are you opposed to land redistribution in South Africa?
We said that there are many ways to go on this issue. For instance, we believe in the principle of a buyer, willing seller. At the moment, more than 20,000 farms are on the open market, even below market price. So we say that we live in a constitutional democracy, therefore we have to follow the laws of the country. And we say that if you use that principle, then those land or farms are available for less than the market value, which is favorable, and the government should use that opportunity. And it is wrong for the government to say that because of the principle that land reform is not successful. It's just not true. The reason why we have problems with land reform is because of incompetent civil servants and even corruption. I have a couple of files on my desk where the department came to the landowners, made them an offer which they accepted. In fact, they didn't bargain about the price of the land, but up till now, and it's more than 5 or 6 years that they're still waiting because of the inability in incompetence of civil servants to complete the contract. That is a problem when it comes to land reform in South Africa. The other matter is that I've asked since 2004 for the government to come forward with a proper land audit. You know, it is also a rhetoric to say that 80% of the land is actually owned by the white people of South Africa. I dispute that, and I said, well, where is the land audit? Now, the minister in the budget vote earlier this year said that there is such an audit. It is with cabinet, and it will be released soon. So we're waiting for that, because how can you say that 80% of land in South Africa belongs to white people if you don't have a land audit? That is just not true. I've asked questions in Parliament about land, and the official answer from the minister itself actually admitted that about 21% of land in South Africa is owned by the state. So that is state land. So if we get those facts on the table, I believe that we can go the legal way, and then you can fulfill as far as land reform is concerned in South Africa.
Many Africans are still saying that the land currently was taken by force by white people, and therefore there should be no compensation, and that land distribution should happen immediately. Your take on this, and is that perhaps why you are raising the issue of civil war?
Well, if they say because of the past, we must ask ourselves, are we fighting for a better past or are we fighting for a better future? The Freedom Front Plus say that we are fighting for a better future. If you go into history, I think there's, even if you look, for instance, what happened in 1899 till 1902, the Afrikaner nation was really almost distinct by the British War. So each and every nation in South Africa has a history. Now, I say that whether we like it or not, and I said it before, this is a constitutional democracy in South Africa. People had bought the land and they have the title deeds, which are available at the title deeds office. So if we want to go back into history and say because of history, we can now just take the land, I think then you're going to repeat history, and maybe then that part of that history was, as you said, that people said it was taken by war. I want to prevent that, so let us not repeat the history in South Africa.
Are you of the view then, Doctor, that the white privileged people will go to war over land in this country?
Well, if you speak to some people, of course, they will take up arms. Let us be honest with each other. I mean, do you really think that landowners will just sit back and say, okay, I won't do anything, you can just take my land or my farm? I think you are very naive if you think that landowners will do that. They will protect themselves, and they have the constitutional right to protect themselves. They also have the constitutional right to protect their property. Therefore, I think people are misleading themselves if they think they will just be able to come and take the land and the landowners will do nothing about it and just sit back.
Doctor, I thank you so much for your time and joining us in our Cape Town studios.
Welcome.
That was Dr. Pieter Groenewald, Freedom Front Plus leader, talking to us about civil war over land in this country.